This week is Parshas Tsav. It has basically two topics in it. The first one, comprising basically the first three aliyahs, is an expansion of what we had in Parshas Vayikra, the Karbanot, going into details about the Karbanot. Parshas Vayikra talks about different types of karbanot that a ordinary person would like to bring, and Parshas Tsav goes into details about how the Kohanim are actually supposed to perform the services that are related to these sacrifices. The second part deals with the inauguration of the priesthood in the temple. Among the karbanot that are discussed both in Parshas Vayikra and Parshas Tsav is the karban asham, literally the guilt offering. It's similar to the sin offering, except the karban chatas is if a person has clearly and openly committed some sort of sin. In the case of the asham, the situation is not that clear for various reasons. There are 6 basic reasons that a karban asham is brought. One is for withholding testimony. A person can testify in a case, but he remains silent for one reason or another. You can always claim that he didn't know about it. It's an easy evasion. Another one is concerning tuma. If someone unwittingly touches a sharetz or a dead body, and then he goes to the temple, although it doesn't say that in this verse, it just simply says that he becomes tamei and he doesn't know it. It's an unwitting tuma. Then he finds out about it. He has to bring a karban asham. Now, there is no, strictly speaking, there is no isser on being tamei in and of itself. The isser is if a person is metame, something that is tahor, specifically a korban, or or going to the temple in that state. The idea is that a person should be in a state of tahara when he engages in these activities. The fact that the Chumash does not say that at this time is an indication that tuma is an undesirable state, even though a person may be required to become tamei at some time, and may even be praised for doing it. Burying the dead is considered chesed shalamet, true act of chesed, because you're doing it to on behalf of someone who really cannot repay that debt. Another one, the third one, is a person unwittingly makes an oath, then violates it. So to speak, this is where you're going into the form of an oath. He does things in the form of an oath, therefore he has actually made an oath, but it's something that he did automatically without thinking. Therefore, he has to bring a korban asham. Again, it's in a gray area. Another one is a form of me'ila. Now, me'ila means, in this case, making personal use of sacred objects. A sheep that is supposed to be a sacrifice, to fleece it and keep the wool. In the case of the korban asham, it's that the person makes use again of a sacred object, but he doesn't do it with any sort of intention. It's done in a state of forgetfulness. A cup that is a Kiddush cup for use in the temple. He just simply he wants to have a drink of water, so he uses that without thinking. Has to bring a korban asham. Okay? And the more general characteristic is where a person is not sure whether he has violated a halacha. Then he has to bring a korban asham. That seems to be the essence of the korban asham, the degree of uncertainty. You don't know if you did or you didn't, but it's also dealing with things that can be corrupted into making that sort of statement. The last one is for fraud, various types of fraud where deceit is involved. An example would be a shomer chinam, where you ask someone to watch something for you and he steals the article and says that, no, I don't know what happened to it. You don't know whether the article genuinely was lost or whether he stole it. It's for anyone who does any of these things would be obligated when he does tshuva to bring a korban asham. The first three of them, which is getting into the topic, are chayav what is called a korban ola v'yored. Ideally, they're supposed to bring a sheep as an offering. However, if they don't have the money for that, they can bring, shall we say, pigeons. But with the pigeon, it's called malika. The way the pigeon is slaughtered is not in the conventional way of using a very sharp knife in cutting the throat. What they do is basically nip off the head with the fingernail, the thumbnail, which is a more grisly way of killing the animal, so to speak. What he has recovered in money, he makes up in aggravation or disgust. The lowest level is to bring basically 2 liters of flour, which, if a person is in that state, you'd have to say that he's actually enduring hunger to bring that sacrifice. The issue of tahara, this is where we're talking about the person who touched a sheretz, is an important one, because in all of these cases they work off of the idea that people may not know about it. You can conceal it from the eyes of other people. Nevertheless, it demands a rectification. The idea is that the person really has become dirty. Other people are going to pick up on it, but it may be very subconsciously. This guy's dirty. There's something wrong with him. Or people behave strangely when they see him. If a person has been involved with burial of the dead, it has an influence on them, in that they need to go through the ritual of the para aduma to restore themselves to the normal state of purity, as well as purity being a virtue in and of itself. That a person is supposed to be basically clean both physically and morally, and not all cleanliness is clearly visible. What you have related to this idea is that the inauguration of the Kohanim, where basically the first thing that is done is that they are bathed. That a person should be physically clean in going through this ritual when they are being inaugurated to a high position. That what happens then after that, part of that is taking it one step further, where the Kohen Gadol as well as the Beis Hamikdash are anointed with a special oil that is only to be used for designated sacred objects. In other words, you can smell the Kedusha upon the person or up in the place. This is again going back to the idea that a person should be pleasing and not disgusting, and that we subtly pick up on these things, and that basically the proper state for a Jew is that he should, so to speak, always have the fragrance of Kedusha upon him.